All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a type of writing that does way more than just tell a story or describe something. We're talking about writing that challenges the world around us. It's called social critique, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful tools we have for understanding and maybe even changing the society we live in. You know that feeling, right? You see something happening, maybe it's in the news or in your own community, and it just feels wrong. And this question just pops into your head. Why? Why is it like this? Well, that little question, that feeling right there, that's the seed. That's the very heart of everything we're going to talk about.
And that impulse, it has a name. It's called social critique writing. And look, this isn't just about complaining on the internet. It's a deliberate, focused process. It's like putting on a special pair of glasses to look at the world and see how it really works. Who's pulling the levers, who's getting a raw deal, and why the system is set up the way it is.
So why bother learning how to do this? Well, because in the world we live in now, with all its complexities, from inequality to just a flood of misinformation, being able to think critically and critique what you see isn't just a nice skill for an English class. It's become absolutely essential for everyone. It's not optional anymore.
And the benefits are super practical. This isn't just theory. Learning this stuff gives a voice to those who are often ignored. It makes you a much more persuasive speaker and writer. It helps you see through the spin and manipulation we're bombarded with every day. And, maybe the biggest one, it helps you build genuine empathy to actually walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
This is exactly why it's so critical in education. This goes way beyond just passing a test. It's about building a foundation for being an active, engaged citizen. It forces us to think about what's fair and just. It gives us the courage to question things, even when it's unpopular. And it shows us that what we learn in a classroom has real, direct consequences out in the world.
And if there's one thing you take away, it should be this. Social critique gives you a whole new lens. It's the difference between just reading the text on a page and understanding the entire world that created that text. It's about learning to read the world, not just the word.
Okay, so you get it. It's important. But how do you actually, do it? How do you go from that feeling of this is wrong to building a powerful, persuasive argument that can actually change minds? Well, let's open up the Critic's Toolkit and see what's inside.
Think of these 7 things as the ingredients in a recipe for change. First, you've got to have a clear purpose. What are you trying to do? Reveal something, question it, challenge it. Then you need a sharp, clear thesis, your main argument. But passion is not enough. You absolutely have to back it up with hard evidence. From there, it's about connecting with your audience on a human level, developing a unique style, and finally, giving people a clear call to action. What should they do now?
So, here's a perfect example of what a strong critical thesis looks like. See how it's not just stating a simple fact? It's making a bold, debatable judgment call about a massive social institution. A sentence like this makes you lean in. It demands to be proven.
And this brings us to a really crucial difference. The difference between just shouting a slogan and crafting an effective critique. Look, slogans are great for firing up people who already agree with you. But a real critique, it does something much harder. It takes that same emotional fire, but channels it through evidence, through nuance. It builds credibility. And that is how you actually start to change minds.
And believe me, this isn't just some academic theory. For centuries, brilliant writers have used this exact toolkit to literally reshape history. So let's take a look at a few incredible examples and see how they put these tools into action.
I mean, just look at this lineage. This is a long and powerful tradition. You have Jonathan Swift using biting satire way back in the 1700s. Then in the 1800s, you have the world-shaking economic critique of Marx and the thundering moral challenge of Frederick Douglass. It continues through the 20th century with titans like James Baldwin and Rachel Carson, all the way up to today with voices like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Every single one of them used this toolkit to take on the biggest issues of their time.
Let's start with a wild one, Jonathan Swift. In 1729, he wrote an essay that seriously proposed that poor Irish families should sell their babies as food for the wretch. It was horrifying. It was shocking. And, of course, it was satire. By presenting this absolutely monstrous idea in a calm, logical tone, he brilliantly exposed how monstrous the actual British policies toward the Irish were. He used his style as a weapon.
Now jump forward over a century. Frederick Douglass used a very different kind of weapon. Pure, unvarnished, powerful truth. He was invited to give a speech on July 5, 1852, to celebrate American independence. This quote is from his answer, and it is just absolutely staggering.
His whole speech was a masterclass. He took this treasured American symbol, the 4th of July, and he held it up like a mirror to the nation's face to show its profound hypocrisy. He wasn't just pointing out a problem, he was challenging the entire moral foundation of the country.
Okay, now let's jump forward another 100 years to Rachel Carson. Her book Silent Spring wasn't about politics or slavery. It was about chemicals, but it was every bit as revolutionary. She systematically and with mountains of evidence critiqued the widespread use of pesticides, exposing how a system celebrated as progress was actually poisoning the planet.
And the result? Just think about this. One book, written by one person, sparked the entire modern environmental movement. It led to massive changes in policy and law. It is the ultimate proof that a single, powerful, well-researched critique can literally change the world.
So what does all this history mean for us? Right here, right now? Well, this skill set isn't a museum piece. It is more relevant than ever, and it's actually the beating heart of a ton of modern professions.
You might actually be surprised where this skill shows up. Of course, you've got journalism, a huge one, but also law, public policy, the nonprofit world. They are all fundamentally built on this idea of analyzing a system, finding what's not working, and arguing for a better way forward.
I mean, really think about it. An investigative journalist who uncovers corruption, that's a social critic. A civil rights lawyer fighting an unjust law, a social critic. Even a business leader who pushes their company to be more ethical and sustainable, they're all engaging in social critique. They are all reading the world, not just the word.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway. This isn't just an interesting writing style or a useful thing to have on your resume. Given the massive challenges we're all facing today, the ability to think critically about society, to see what's broken, and to clearly explain why it has to be fixed, it's not a luxury, it's a flat-out necessity. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Now that you've seen the toolkit, look around. At your own community, your job, the media you consume every day. What system, what norm, what "that's just the way it is" thing deserves a closer, more critical look from you?